So with that lesson, we were we started yesterday having an introduction in terms of how artists make statements through their work, right? So basically, it was all about making statements through arts. And you had a piece of homework for today in which you guys basically had to choose any topic or event, like it could have been any issue or event, whatever you wanted. And then we would explore different um, arts, let's say, regarding how they make statements regarding that topic that you guys have chosen. That's essentially what we did, and that's how we're gonna conclude that part of the introduction. Okay, so basically, what we're gonna do. Let me see, because we have two formats, two options to do that. So yeah, you know what? How are we gonna do it? I'm going to open the breakout rooms for you guys to get together. So I've got the information on the groups. I'll give you just 2 to 3 minutes, and then we are going to come back here and we are going to listen to all the groups. We're gonna check the exercise of every single group, and so we can grade that as well. We can include that also as a grade, since because I thought about doing it like mingling grips, but I wouldn't have the flavor of the exercise itself. I think it would have been way more complex for me to see exactly who did the exercise and everything. So that's why I believe it's better to do it this way. And well, we would have one additional grade, which is absolutely okay. So so I will open the breakout rooms then, guys, for you to go there, and then I'll call you back here in 3 minutes, okay? And I will just call groups randomly, and each one of the groups is going to have around 2 to 3 minutes to present their grade with the exercise they did, and that's going to be a grade as well, okay? Is that clear, guys?
Yes, teacher.
There you go, guys. So I'll call you back here in 3 minutes. We're gonna basically listen to each one of the groups really quick just to see the exercise they did, which is going to be hopefully something very cool. So something very interesting, as we'll see how they did all of them their exercise and what kind of sources they had a chance to find. So if that's okay with you guys, I'd like to start with the very first group, which is in this case the group number 2, according to this numbering, in which we have Felipe, John, and Lina. So guys, um,
Yes, sir.
we are all ears.
I just want to know what teacher.
No worries.
There it is. And you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So, well, basically here, as we are gonna be covering the topic of the environmental impact.
Mhm.
So we are going to check like some of them for each one of the categories. So let's start with the first.
Well, about our topic about environmental impact and environmental awareness, we put like some expressions of art. In the first one, visual art, we have travel panda. That is one interesting sculpture
Mhm.
that that this author decided to put, because it's interesting because he put and say that there are just 1,600 pandas around the world,
Mhm.
and he decided to put in his art like a manner to to take awareness about this this endangered species because well, this culture invites us to become aware of the endangered species. So it's interesting. And the other one is a heartbeat, a tree.
Heartbeat.
This one was the most interesting for me because it's like a modern expression of art. It includes like a visual techniques because, for example, the idea of the author was like project and a visual tree
Uh-huh.
um, on the buildings, the modern buildings like United States,
Uh-huh.
and per each hairbreadth of the people, and the tree is growing. So it's very interesting because it's like it use a different apps, uh, which the people connect to the app and like um
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's like, for example, you feel your headbutt, and the tree is like growing in the image, so it's
Yeah, I
something
can.
interesting.
I'm just googling it, and it looks really good. Yeah.
Yes, it's really good. It was the most interesting for me.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. To continue with, I choose media arts and performing arts dance. So in that case, I choose the most interesting movies for me because was the Born of the 4th of July. Just really, the first one, well, as it was a volunteer, a person who decided to go to the war, but he is gonna be changing a lot when he come back as a old, like when he left the war, he's gonna change a lot. And the second one was just Mercy, is like a person that was in prison
Mm-hmm.
because, well, it wasn't his fault. So those are just amazing movies that I decided to choose. And the second one in the performing arts dance. So some there are the dances like so amazing that always means something. For example, the first one, both are related to the change. The first change and the second one to related to the climate.
Mm-hmm.
So and also the weather. So in that case, you see while they are dancing how you can evidentiate it, the change in that part of the essence.
Great.
Okay, yes. And well, after dance, we have the part of music. And in this part, we chose those three songs, especially because they talk about the topic about the pyramid. For instance, in the first example, Truth to Power is very interesting because the author tried to tell a story from the perspective of the earth, like how is suffering, how the earth feel the bad things that humans are making in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, industrialization or those kind of stuff. In the same sense, for instance, big yellow taxi. It shows also the other perspective. So we can evidence how the world has changed. For instance, everything has becoming like concrete jungle. So it shows also that destruction that sometimes c- can seems good in order to do new things. However, uh, it doesn't mean that in the future it would be good for all of us. So yeah. And the last art that is theater, uh, which is also two plays that shows like a reflection in order to avoid the yeah. For instance, people is spend a lot of water in
Mm-hmm.
different activities around the world that with the only end of get a lot of money However, after that business, everything can become worse because if the water is not here, it's like we cannot live without that resource. So those theater plays tries about that.
Okay, 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 guys. So that's a very interesting selection you have put together here. And yesterday I was thinking specifically about this last part, which has to do with theater. I think that's perhaps one of the hardest to find, right? It doesn't matter the topic, perhaps to Google that and find examples. It's a little bit more challenging somehow. But good thing is that you guys selected a topic which is very relevant. So it was almost certain that you would find examples like this. Talking about that, guys, and talking about the topic that you guys have selected, um, you may remember like a couple of weeks ago, I asked you a favor, of using this filter and everything for this campaign we are doing in the British Council. And I'm also sharing with you, I just share it here on the chat box. This is a link to something we have called a Global Youth Letter, which is a letter which is being signed by young people all around the world as an urgent call to governments in terms of climate change. This coming October 26th, there is going to be a very important event in Scotland, in Glasgow, which is called COP26, which is a global meeting on this topic, on climate change. So all of these activities are connected to that. So we have a very, very high expectations about this event, because as I said, this is going to be a global call, urgent call in terms of climate change. So one of the strategies that we all the different organizations are putting together is to precisely give a voice to young people who also understand the importance of this topic and want to somehow add efforts to it. So I just share with you here the link, guys. You will find information about that, and you are free to join the campaign if you guys believe in this cause, if you want to somehow support the cause and participate in it. You can enter that link, perhaps read a little bit more about that, um and just read the letter perhaps, and add your voice. So everything is right there, guys. Everything you basically need, it's right there. So there are 23 countries that participate in that report. Colombia is not included, but the global youth letter clearly includes the whole world. So you can absolutely participate and sign it if you will. So guys, thank you very much for sharing with us that selection. As I said, yeah, just give me a second as I need to take some notes over here. Great, guys. So we are going to continue now with the next group, which in this case is going to be the group number 3, apparently, which in this case is Ana Maria, Diego, and Valeria, guys. So if you will, we'd like to listen to you.
Good morning, everyone.
Hello, mister.
Morning, teacher. Let me share my screen. Morning.
Hello, hello.
For our team, we choose suicide.
Yeah. So, are you going to explain why?
No, you go first.
Okay, we choose this because this is a very interesting topic and something that it's currently happening more in advance. Well,
Mhm,
that it's happening right now more than before, and
mhm,
it's not only it's about teenagers, but many different people are committing and are going through many difficult situations, and they are seeing the suicide as the only way. So that's why we choose this topic. So visual arts, I choose a prayers. Well, we choose, sorry, prayers for Bobby is a movie that it's about how a teenager commit suicide because he is part of the LGBTQ community and
Mm-hmm.
his family don't accept him because they are very religious. But at the end, they change their minds. It's so hard because he had to commit suicide to them to understand that being gay or being in that community is not bad. At the
Mm-hmm.
end, it's pretty sad because he is not right now with them, but they understood and they make a change in people's mind about it. And Constantine, I think that that's very famous, and tries the suicide of a girl and how that man from that with his gift of God, he's trying to remediate some things in his life.
Mm-hmm.
So he helps, and it's kind of tricky because it's about the devil and God and many other things. But the suicide, it's part of this movie.
Okay, in literary part, we choose two works, two books, sorry, and but I just mentioned the first, which is The Sorrows of John Water. It's about an artist who is disappointed with the life, and he decide to paint and express the emotions in their words. In the part of media arts, we choose an important word where the artists express how people um, express their
Mm-hmm.
negative emotions. So
Okay, okay. I want to make a little parenthesis here. Um, Once again, good topic, excellent selection. I think so far we have chosen two very important topics. And actually, some people might say that this is the most important topic in life, to discuss if life is worth being lived or not. And that made me remember about a book that I would like to recommend to you guys if you want to basically explore this from other perspectives, which is this. It's called the Sisyphus myth, or in Spanish, El mito de Sísifo, from Albert Camus. Very nice piece of reading. And basically, in this book, Albert Camus says that is the most important question in philosophy, if life is worth being lived or not. So he discusses the topic of suicide from a very interesting perspective. So I would absolutely suggest, if you guys want, perhaps that would be an excellent plan for vacation. And I mean it. It's not sarcasm. If you guys had the chance to read this book, it's very short, as you can say, but it's my favorite book, actually. It's my favorite book ever. So I would absolutely recommend you guys read it. And it's not that hard to find. I'm gonna just leave it here in Spanish. Um, there you go. El mito de Sísifo. There you go, guys. So please continue.
Okay, so next one in dance, we found mostly is like a modern dance and ballet and that kind of stuff. One is La Acción del Suicidio by Irene Cantero, and the other one is like a girl that dance over a letter of suicide.
Wow.
So it's very, very interesting. For music, we choose two Korean artists. One is Jonghyun. The song is Let Me Out. It was his last album before he committed suicide. So it's a really, really deep song. It talks about how he felt. And the other one is by Lee Byung-jae. It calls Chonyo, that translate not at all. And he talks about how being famous or how having money don't make you happy, that people think that because you're smart, because you have what they want, you're happy. But he
Mhm.
talks about that.
And lastly, in performing arts, we choose two different theater performance, which are Malditos 16. It's an Spanish theater uh, situation that speaks about four friends who commit suicide, and they talk about their experience with anorexia, with bulimia, with depression, and all those things, how to them to commit suicide. And No Me Olvides Nunca, which is about this challenge of the whale, of the blue whale,
Wow, yeah.
and it speaks about that.
And
Wow, wow.
finally, we choose this topic because if you talk with any psychologist, they will say that people that are thinking about committing suicide, they talk about it. They try to get help
Mhm.
in different ways. Maybe very directly, they told you like, hey, I'm not okay, blah, blah, blah. Or they do it in this way, but some kind of art. So that is why we choose this topic.
Yes, absolutely. So guys, there are several very good aspects of this that I want to highlight. First of all, and this is part of what I'd like you guys to do with this mini project that we are going to be concluding just next week. And it's how you can combine like perspectives, points of view, not just from different kinds of art, but also from different cultures. You see, so what I like the most about the selection that you have made is that we, apart from the fact that the obvious fact that we have different kinds of art, at the same time we have different cultural perspectives, right? As I can see that some of those, I mean, the sources are various, are Spanish speaking artists and also English speaking artists and even Korean. So having those different origins makes it even more interesting just to see how not just the kind of art the artists have used, but also how culture has an impact on these as well, right? How different cultures have a completely different perspective on this. Talking about this topic specifically in the context of certain Asian cultures, we know that this is something very serious. I mean, the suicidal rates in countries like Japan or Korea are something to observe. And apart from that, as Valeria says, this is something which is present in the expression of people all around the world, right? And I mean, I think it has happened to us that sometime we've seen any sort of post or photography of any of our friends on social networks, and we say, "Wow, you see that somehow rings a bell," and it's like a red flag at the end of the day, and we say, "Wow, this is not right." So this is something which is present, which is always there. So yep, I absolutely like this selection as well, guys. Thank you very much for sharing. Okay, so we're gonna continue with the next script, and that's Camila Bulla, Camila Navarro, and Melissa Goyes. So guys, we are all ears. Speed up a little bit, okay, because we're taking a little bit too long. Although I'm really enjoying this, and I think this is essential for understanding the point of this exercises we are doing. So yes, please.
Okay, good morning. And the
Hello.
topic we choose is homosexual discrimination. About the visual arts, I found Terry Holidays.
Results from a search.
The Terry Holidays Forbidden Land. It is a series of photographs that Adolfo Patiño took in 70s. This work shows independence and freedom. Siley broke the taboo that existed on sexual alternatives. The next word is the dudes. It was created by openly gay artists who have dedicated themselves to documenting the space of the gay community through their work so that they are respected. The other is ensure, no sé cómo se pronuncia.
I don't know. That's not even English, but
Lecture by Luis Frantino that portrays the life of gay men in New York based on personal experience. This in order to make people aware that we are all in some way the same. And in literary arts is Narman was the first gay teen poetry book published in Urdu, written by
Wow. Wow.
by Ifti, a Pakistani poet who fled his country persecution for his sexuality. And the other is Profundi, is the passionate letter that Oscar Wilde wrote to his lover, Lord Douglas, while Wilde was incarcerated for homosexual practice. And the last is Miseducation of Cameron Post, written by Emily Danforth. It is the story of a teenage girl who is forced by her family to go to therapy to guide her sexuality.
Okay.
Next, Camila.
Okay, good morning. In media arts, I found Until Their Love Lasts, debates around the same sex in the Colombian context. In 2015 by Cesar Sanchez Abella. For him, experiences like these mark the lives of people with sexual orientations and normative gender identities. And although there have been pedagogical and legal efforts to prevent them from happening, this reality has not yet changed completely. And the next one, LGBT community in Colombia include on paper and exclude in reality. During the last years, the recognition of equality, the free development of personality marriage. And the last one is the media's of black to right and change history. It's the same. And the next one, performing arts dance, booging, the combative dance of gays and transsexuals. The combative dance of gays and transsexuals. It is a Black and Arab gays and transsexuals dance to the electronic rhythm of Kitty Small, ambassador to Friends of Booging, movement for the emancipation of the American Black LGBT community. And the next one.
Okay, well, I think that music is an art that expresses emotion and ideas. So for various reasons, music makes us on to tolerance for love, self-affirmation, and the right against sexual discrimination. And here are some examples. The first is I want to break free. This song, which means freedom, the theme of this mythical song could be translated as I want to free myself. It's in vindication to freedom, to the ideological, social, political, or economic doctrine that tends to maintain the social order. Yes. The next is Vogue of Madonna. This song was released in 1990. This song brought Vogue out of hiding and solidified Madonna's position as an icon in the LGBTI community, and this song leaves a strong messages against homophobia and xenophobia. And the last is Saint Love of Michael Moore and Ryan Lewis. This song is the first song to explicitly embrace and promote gay marriage that has made into the top one. Not only does it advocate for same-sex marriage, and the entire song is dedicated to arguing for marriage. In the performing arts theater, through how historic theater has managed to break some paradigms on sex discrimination, creating pieces linking to social movements against marginalization and homophobia. There are some examples that the theater against homosexuality shows us. The fear is a normal hair. A normal hair writing by American writer and activist Larry Kramer in 1985. This writer capturing the piece part of his experience with a gay man. He also reminds us that HIV/AIDS is still present and that the fight is not over. And as well as it also reflects the macho and intolerant society before homosexuality. Yes. The next work is The Prairie Woman. The Prairie Woman, written, performed, and directed by Mexican Cesar Enriquez, is a cabaret show that premiered in 2016. This work is based on the story of a transsexual prostitute woman where discrimination and social intolerance that trans people live is shown. In addition, the fight for their rights, yes. And the last is The Public, and The Public right by Federico Garcia Lorca. In the series, managed to be mounted in 1997, considered one of the most famous and pioneering gay wars of Spanish theater. This word speaks to us of the universal love that arises in total freedom without restriction or prejudice. But the society of the 20s and 30s commitment homosexuality and use it in a terrible way, position that have not changed in some societies today.
Okay, guys. So well, once again, that was quite a very good selection. Once again, we see somehow that pattern I described earlier, and that has to do with the fact that you guys are choosing sources from different cultures, from different ages even. And that's also something very important to highlight. Another thing that I really like about this exercise is the fact, I mean, look at the collection of topics we've got so far. So it is really good to see that we can discuss these topics in this context. You see, like, I don't know, some years ago, the topics would have been absolutely different, and I'm 100% convinced about that. So I like the fact that you guys are taking the risk to explore this kind of topics and express also. So I think it's also very, very, very interesting. And even though you guys had a very short time for doing this, I would say that you guys have been putting together really interesting material that it's absolutely worth watching. So thank you guys as well. So we're gonna continue with the next group in which we have Clara, Diana, and Tatiana. So guys, it's your turn.
Okay, teacher, use a second, please.
So the next group, so they also get ready when we finish with this one, would be Laura Bermudez and Nicolás Medina. Okay, it would be the next group.
Okay, so we choose to talk about the LGBTQ plus community.
Excuse
More
me, I'm
especially,
sorry, excuse me, I couldn't hear very well.
can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, we choose to talk about the LGBTQ plus community, more specifically about lesbians. In their culture, lesbian are first misrepresented. Second, these kind of relationships are most likely to be sexualized. And
Yep.
third, when they are included, they are usually not important characters, or there is this thing that they do that if one of them falls in love, like the lesbian falls in love, they die somehow. Okay, so the first is visual arts. We choose those paintings because first they were painted by men, and I don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. I'm sorry if I do, but usually when men represent these kind of relationships, they tend to sexualize them. Um, for example, these paintings, the women are having some kind of intercourse. They are quite explicit. Um, yeah, Clara?
Okay, I choose blue, the literary arts. Blue is the awareness color.
Mhm.
Is the book novel. is a story of novel and heartbreak, of growth and maturity of a couple's relationship and defense himself in the midst of the dizzying wars of the 21st century of life changes completely with a lesbian couple in the street falling in love at first sight with an intriguing blue-haired woman. From that moment on, growing doubts about his sexual identity will make him try to get to know. Okay, the, the problem is isn't sex per se that makes blue is the warmest color. The problem is the patriarchal assumptions about sex, family appetite, and maternity that leads into his and sounds and the why it remains with scrutinizing closeness the family body.
Okay. With my lesbian experience with loneliness, that's actually a good book. Is a manga. It illustrates the author's experience and discovering her sexuality and how her body reacts. Then in Media Arts we have First Street. That's a three-part movie. Um, it has like three representations. The first one is like a kind of good lesbian relationship. The second is this thing that I told you where they fell in love and one of them dies. And the third is that there are unnecessary sex scenes. And in Vikings, that's a series. Uh,
Mhm.
they it's just this thing that there was a lesbian and she fell in love and she died basically.
Okay, the we found performing arts dance, Hatch Namela Niamsa is the autobiographical representation of Niamsan who feel and makes her experience in South Africa, feel woman, lesbian through dance.
In music, we have first Slumber Party by Shimiko and Princess Makia. Basically, it's just like um, telling a story, kind of like just having sex with another woman. A bit like disclaimer or something. I'm not saying that representing this kind of things is inherently bad, but I do think that not is not necessary. For example, with that song, we fell in love in October of Getting Red. Um, Getting Red is a group or a singer, I'm not sure, but they sing just in songs about lesbian, and the relationships, like how they met and how the relationship grows. I'm not gonna talk about the whole discography because I haven't heard it all, but yeah.
Okay, the performing arts theater, uh, we chose Dr. Rice, American Beach House, because the cooking drama set on rooftop the night before Sally's Rice story Space Tribe. Christine and Erin Murphy play represent White Dress Boots, story by Marga Gomez, Sabbath's lesbian. And that's it.
Okay, guys. So thank you very much for the selection as well. There's a new element which I also would like to highlight, and it's that, well, as I've discussed before, uh, when you include the perspectives of different cultures, different ages, different kinds of art and everything, you start to see a very complex map around that topic that you have originally chosen. But apart from that, and I totally agree with Diana. You start also to see some emerging findings, let's say, which might be perhaps very obvious, but at the same time, they are very important to highlight. Just as Diana mentioned, talking about this topic specifically, this is a topic that tends to be very distorted, let's say, when in media in general terms, when they talk about this topic of gay women specifically lesbians, it tends to be highly sexualized. So somehow that takes our focus of attention out of the important part of a topic, and perhaps we tend to make it very very superficial and distorted, as I said. And that's something that you perhaps find as you are analyzing all of these different representations. So I think that's also a very positive impact of the exercise itself. So thank you guys very much for sharing. So guys, as I said, we're gonna continue then with Laura and Nicolas. And the next group after Laura and Nicolas will be Daniel and Gerson. So you guys get ready. So guys, let's see.
Okay, good morning. So, well, we choose obsession. It seemed to us an interesting topic to deal with and that we could cover a lot, and we did not base it only on love obsession, yeah, but on everything that the word obsession covers. So, Nico.
So about visual arts, we choose some examples from the painter Edward Munch, and yeah, because in his paintings he painted the faces of human psychology representing the soul, and he was renowned for his representation of love, death, and obsession. And about literary arts, those books are related to obsession, and I remember that when I was at school, I read the book El Túnel by Ernesto Sabato. He's an Argentine writer, and this book tells the story of Jean Paul Castel. He is the main character and the narrator of the story, and he tells from prison the reasons that led him to commit the murder against his lover Maria Iribarne, because it was an unrequired love. So that is.
Well, in media arts, we choose those movies and series um, because we think that there are movies and series in which one person get obsessed for the other one, and that and they can commit a crime by the obsession. Then we in performing arts in dance we choose Black Swan because the dancers yeah, there is obsession by the dancers uh, to to obtain a perfect moves in the scenario.
Okay, well, in the music part, there was a great variety since the artists use a lot this them when they make a love song, including the names of the song that deal with this them. And well, for example, the song of Possession of Sarah is a song that deals with this theme from the depressive part, yeah. And well, the other artists focus on the on the revenge, yeah, and the pain of the obsession. And well, yeah, and in the theater, well, we found some performances that not only talk about obsession from the love part, and well, we also found tok tok, which is a condition of compulsive obsession that people have to do something many times, yeah. And well, closer and desconfía de ti, no de mí. Well, they focus on how obsessed we can become people from a perfectionist point of view. Yeah, that's all.
Wow, guys, I'm really, I don't know how to express this, but I'm really surprised and happy to see the selections you guys have made. I mean, first of all, the topics that all of the groups so far have chosen. Um, like I was not expecting these topics, and this is a very good example of a topic that I was not expecting, and seeing this selection, unique selection around a topic like that, which is general enough for to give us, let's say, to make us perhaps question ourselves about these kinds of aspects and aspects of human life, but it's also specific. So you guys had a chance to make the selection. So this is quite a very interesting selection. And that's all. That's all I can actually say. The thing is that remember, guys, that it's really important. I mean, it's not mandatory, but as you guys have chosen this topic, chances are that perhaps the coming activities that you'll do could be related to the same topic. So you could elaborate on what you guys have done already, and that would be also very interesting. So there is no doubt that this is one topic which is absolutely worth analyzing, studying, and working on. So thank you guys for sharing. That was just fantastic. Great.
Thank
Okay.
you, teacher.
Thank you. So guys, we're gonna continue then with Daniel and Jerson, and the next group would be Ashley, Dylan, and Maria Alejandra. So you guys get ready. So Daniel, Jerson, we are all ears.
All right, most certainly. Let me see. There. Can you hear me, teacher, by any
Yes,
chance?
perfectly. Yep.
Okay, I did fix my mic.
Oh, thank God.
So I'll be going first with the first three arts. So as for visual arts, here I put six examples, and our topic being World War II. And with this, I thought of a little methodology with the paintings. I'll be showing you one by one. And I'll be trying you to explain what I think is the stages of war and what that brings to people with the, of course, the art representation. I don't know if you can you see this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
First of all is the pain. The name of this painting is Women and Children in the Tube by Henry Moore, made in 1940s. And it shows the life, the situation of the, well, of course, we know that most men had to go to war to face the German soldiers, or the Germans had to face the United Kingdom, the French, and the United States. And by that, a lot of children were not able to grow with their with their fathers because they probably died in war. I mean, the numbers are quite high, almost more than 1 million from both sides. I mean, at the end of the day, who's really the picture? That's the pain. Then it's the fear. This painting, it was painted by Suzanne Barget. It was published in a museum, and it's the city transformed by war. And I like to call this the state of fear, the constant fear of the soldiers having to expect an ambush, not being able to sleep, having a constant PTSD every time they wake up, having to grab a gun and strip from a person's life. Yes. Next is St. Paul's Cathedral, made by Louisa Poller, 1941. It's this one. No, it's not this one. It's, what is it? It's this one. Can you see it right?
Yep.
It pictures the Plaza of St. Charles. Well, you already read it. And it was treated afterwards as a place to treat the wounded. And I like to call this the stage of the fury. It's basically what comes after the war. Basically, you've lost familiars, you've lost everything, and you can do absolutely anything to bring them back, to bring their limbs back, to bring all the blood they've lost and all the comrades they've lost. That's just straight up fury. The next one is A Railway Terminus by Henry Carr, 1941, which is this one. This one, which we can see it's most of soldiers looking for the schedules in order for them to go back home. And yeah, normal people just buying tickets for them to, if they're able to go back to their home, and call this horrible event in history just past. Leave it behind them, and it's called the end. What I call the end. Next is In the Shelter by Edward Argison, 1940s. It's this which pictures people just absolutely exhausted by the, but what war leaves in the people's, not even physically, mentally. And that's what I call the sorrow of what is yet to come from this war. What did we gain? What did we lose? It's the constant sorrow of what is to wait for us in the future. And as for the final stage, it's a more happy one, but it's from the painting Longer War by Kenneth Roundtree. And it's the joy, the final stage of war. Basically, people are going back, trying to go back to the life. Soldiers are still in the streets. Politicians are still doing their jobs. Diplomats still trying to figure out how to end the war. But for the people, for most of them, there's nothing but joy, because that's the only way to see once the war is over. As for literature, The Boy in the Street Pajama, very good book that they also made a movie, so it's both plausible to put them in both media and literature. The Diary of a Young Girl, I don't know if there's a movie adaptation, maybe there is.
I think there is, yeah. I'm not sure, but
I read
yes,
I read half the book. It's good, but because of time and interest, I just leave it. And it's Stalingrad because it depicts um, one of the most important wars fought by the Soviets and Stalingrad in order to take back what was theirs from the Nazis. So yeah, a piece of literature that just shows what's behind the strategy and war, and yeah, the stages of war. As for media, we have The Pianist, a well-known movie. It won the Golden Globe. Jojo Rabbit, pretty good movie. It was. We were able to see it last year, though you could say it's a comedy. The director himself played that side of Hitler. You know, the guy that appears in the head of Jojo every once in a while. Because yeah, when you can kill Nazis, you can always make fun of them.
yeah, I know.
And of course, Les Miserables. I don't know if I pronounced that right.
That's good.
By Claude Lelouch is an adaptation of Victor Hugo's book. In this, they basically changed the plot, but still, the fate of the father of the fate of the main protagonist and his wife is the same. They both die horribly, but the story circles around the son who tries to become a fighter, maybe of a showman, just to try to survive what is the afterwards of World War II. And yeah, that's that for me. Gerson?
Well, that era, the performance about the dance. Well, the swing dance is like a group of dances that develop with the swing styles about jazz music in the 1920s. and 1940s, with origins of Eastern predicting the popular swing era that involved the Lindy Hop Valve collection. Well, the Lindy Hop is an American dance which was born in the African American communities in Harlem, New York, and also that subgenre about the swing dance is late the 1930s. And Lindy was a fusion of many dances that practiced either were popular during it, like the jazz, the tap, and others. And the performing as the music we can find the Balanciano that is by the professor that this song is more relevant for the lies that involve the Germans. The second one is the Don't Let's Be Beasley the Germans. That is more about the feeling that is the fear, and the cheer is about the truth. And the last one that is the Bar that theater is about the Holocaust that many many Jews suffered to the Germans. And for the last one is the Socialization May that Edward J. That this book is about the survive in the streets when was the German was created to panic. And that's all.
Okay, guys. So once again, this is quite an outstanding selection. I'll start by making a little comment regarding one of the examples you included in music, Bella Ciao. Well, yes, actually, this is like let's say a modern version, the one which is credited to El Profesor. This is a modern version of it, but the actual song is very old. It's from the 1800s, if I'm not wrong. And yes, it is absolutely right that which that was it became relevant in the context of the World War, as it was an anthem of the partisan movement in Italy, right? But perhaps because of this famous Netflix series, Casa de Papel, it become again very popular. But the song, you see, it's super old actually. I mean, the original song because it's a popular song which was then edited in a partisan version in the context of the World War II. And now, well, I think most of us also know it. And actually, last year, in the context of this protests and everything, Colombia, people were using the melody also of that song to compose some sort of chants and everything. But apart from that, once again, guys, this is actually one of the topics I enjoy the most to be to see depicted in media arts. I would say that every single year, with no exception, I watch a couple of movies or documentaries on the World War II. There is no exception. I really enjoy that. And actually, in video games, I also like to explore that. Although we know that in terms of the narrative, that's it's not the best option. But point is that this is a topic that I also consider very, very interesting, and we could say that this is a turning point in the human history. So I also want to highlight the fact that this is the very first group that has chosen an event. In the case of the other groups, you guys have chosen issues like topics in general, but this is the first event we see. So it's also very good to see that how we can explore an event from the perspective of different kinds of arts and artists from different origins. So this is something quite good. So once again, guys, thank you very much for sharing. Now we're going to continue then with, we are missing just 3 groups. We are going to continue with Ashley, Dylan, and Maria Alejandra. So guys, just this stage is yours. And then the next group is going to be Angie Rodriguez, Daniel Arias, and Erika Corredor. So guys, please.
Okay. Hi.
Hello.
Okay, we choose LGBT community too. So we choose this like event because we believe that like it is a form of representation based on love and the abilities of each person. And when you feel good out sharing your like true self, you embrace those capabilities and who you are. So yeah, with visual arts, we wanted to talk out 3 females. The first one are Hannah Kinlan and Rosie Hastings. They are a duo of England, and they seek to preserve queer culture. So they have dedicated themselves to documenting the spaces of the LGBT community through painting and filming. And here is one of his painting. And the second woman we have here, her name is Cristina Quarles, and is a cisgender woman who explores themes such as ambiguity, duality, and contradiction, like in here.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. With literary arts, we have, well, I'm going to talk about 2 of the books that are in here. The first one is Un beso de Dick from Fernando Molano Vargas. This book is about a 16-year-old young man who makes his way through the paths of first love, aware of belonging to a society like us, because the book is set in Bogota around 1960s, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, he is aware of belonging to a society blinded by his prejudices, and which is difficult to dialogue, like make dialogues with other ways of loving and wanting to be loved. So there's that. And the second one is Red, White, and Royal Blue from Cassie Mackinston. This book is set in a war in which a female Democrat from Texas win the presidency in 2016, and talks about the illicit romance between the president's son, that is called Alexander Claremont, and Prince Henry of Wales, that is like his childhood nemesis. So there is a romance, but also political aspects. Guys.
Okay, and major arts, we have John Royal, Doug Butter, The Imitation Game, Pose, Love, Simon. In this case, I consider that the best movie in this list is The Imitation Game because it narrates the history of a man that create the first computer in the world for the in the Second World War. I think I really don't remember very well, but this is the story of the creation of the first computer, and the man is gay, and this is the very interesting.
And in performing arts, in this case, dance, we have 2 some videos. Like the first, this video shows a small part of ballet dance between 2 women, and this represents softness and fragility through the song. Maleja, please.
Wait, I think I didn't share with some.
Okay.
Yeah.
All of the lies I believed got the better of me. Never thought there could be so much doubt. All the blame and the hate, the self-hurt and the heartbreak. A fish that kept holding me down. And I was my own worst enemy. And I found my way through it all. Finally I see I'm enough, just as I am. Feel right at home anywhere that I
Okay. On the other hand, we have men dancing Vogue. It's very old type of dance where they use the movements on their hands on all the time they pose. This type of dance is represented by wearing colorful costumes and heels that helps to have more security in the dancers and break the rules of the society.
On the line, DJ Mike Q, pump me the beat. From the house of Mugler, give it up for Tati, Prince, and Diego Mugler. They duck walking, yes, we're duck walking. Miyaki, Muaki, ooh, Miyaki, ooh, yeah. Duck, walk, bam. Duck, walk, bam. Judges your scores, judges your scores. Yes, 10s across the board, Miyaki, 10s across the board. From the house of Garcon, give it up for Savion and Milan Garcon. Duck, walk, bam. Duck, walk, bam. Duck, walk, bam. Duck, walk as a team. Ow, go, what, ow, what?
Guys, little parenthesis. Is that? I'd like to know more about that TV show. Is that what kind of TV show is that? Because I have never heard about it. It's like a reality, I think, right? Or like a, I don't know, like not a reality, but like a contest sort of show, right?
Yes, it's a show like the people in this case that community participate and show their dancing and have a lot of customers of categories and the public and some just like are very famous and have that qualification of that people and have a winner or something like that.
Okay, and the show is called Legendary, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice. I have no idea about it. Okay, guys, thank you.
And in the part of music, we have a list of a lot of artists like Harry Styles, Gina Gray, Lady Gaga, Stevie Killer, Hozier, Ariana Grande, and some songs that I know that really you hear someone or something like that.
Yeah.
And in this case, the artist try to express or try to share the vision of the community LGTB, and this is the part of music. Next.
Okay, and in the case of performing arts theater, we have these plays. Yes, plays. The first one is A Queer Carol, that is an adaptation game based on the classic novel by Charles Dickens, A Christmas Carol. The next one is La Cage aux Folles, in English, like the Cage of Mad Woman. It's about two characters, Alvin and George. One day, George's son is going to marry with a daughter of someone conservative, and he asks his father to have a normal family for one day. The next is Angels in America. It's the center of the story are two couples, one straight and one gay, whose life will be affected by the onset of AIDS, AIDS, and the play is raw and real. And the last one is The Boys in the Band, that is all is based on four walls in an apartment of New York. A group of friends decide to play a game, and this involves a series of problems demonstrating internal issues of each one. And the majority of these plays was represented for the first time on Broadway. And that's it.
Okay, guys. So as I said, well, the fact that we have had so far three groups perhaps working around the same topic talks about the relevance of it. You see the relevance of let's say setting the tone for the conversation in highlighting all these different representations that exist out there. You see, um, this is something that I think is positive. The fact that in terms of different kinds of art, there's been some sort of explosion in terms of expression. And that's something that there is no doubt it's positive, because if there is that sort of explosion, it means that there was a lot of energy and a lot of things to say that were somehow silenced through the ages. But now perhaps conditions are different, and that's why we see all these multiple representations in art, and it means that it's something which is worth watching and analyzing as you guys have done it. So once again, guys, thank you very much for sharing. So guys, we are missing just two groups. So we are going to continue with the group number 9, which in this case is Angie, Daniela, and Erika. And the last one would be David, Torres, Magdalene, and Nicole. So you guys will be the next after this one. So guys, please.
Teacher, in the group is 4 people with Jasmine. Jasmine.
Okay.
Well, our topic is the war. Well, in the visual arts, the painting is the Battle of Anghiari of Leonardo da Vinci, by Leonardo da Vinci.
Vamos de mamá. Vamos con mi.
Um, okay, this painting doesn't have a certain date, but it was painted in 54, 1504 or 1505, more or less, and represent and it represents people riding horse, which were fighting to obtain the symbol of the city of Florence, which was the gonfalon. This is the name of the symbol, gonfalon. And in the painting, Da Vinci wanted to show how people are always at war to get what they want, yeah, and this fake to overcome their fears. Yasmin.
I'm sorry. So continue with the literary arts. So the example that we choose is The Art of the War by Sun Tzu. What I want to say, okay, this book of The Art of the War, it is a very, very interesting book and very recognized and famous in the literature all over the world. But really, when this work was writing, it was not a book as such, yeah. This was a word theorist that was writing many, many years ago, yeah. So it is many years old. What else? This book was writing by Sun Tzu again. Uh, who uh, who who was a general, military strategist and philosopher of ancient China, who lived more who lived who lived more or less in the 5th century before Christ. So all his works and writings are very old, but nowadays people continue to read it. So you can imagine the impact that his literature have on the society. The art of the work as such is about military strategies and tactics that will allow us to win the war. But the interesting thing about the book is that it is something totally different because there are not literal strategies, yeah. But for example, he used metaphors, and I don't know, another ways to expose these strategies, yeah, and tactics. But these strategies will allow us to win the war without spilling blood and being very intelligent. Yeah. What else? The good thing about this book is that these strategies are, I don't know, can be used in any situation of daily life or with any type of person. Yeah. So it is all, and I recommend you to read it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, in media arts, I choose Pure Haven movie, directed by Michael Bay, because this is a science fiction movie based on real facts on an event that happened on December 17th in 1941. This film takes events related to the Second War when Japanese soldiers attacked Pearl Harbor, and this movie was also recreated with a love story in between events for the audience. And in dance art, I choose Guerra, Danza Contemporánea. The song is by Residente, and this song is dancing for Villa di Danza. The people started to use their bodies to express themselves with corporal language. And when Residente released this song, Guerra, people started to dance to it and create some representation about war with an adaptive choreography.
Okay, in the performing arts, music, we choose Brother in Arms of Dire Straits. This is a very nostalgic song because the singer tells the story in first person, yeah? And the song tells a story about a place that was very beautiful, but become a place of poor suffering because of the war, yeah? And that many people have to witness it all. Moreover, the anger gray more and more, but despite everything, the affected people always stood together to overcome this battle, and become brothers in arms. That's why the song is called that way, because he said that we were false for making war. And the only thing we had at time, they we had sorry and the only thing they had at time were brothers in arms.
Okay, and the last one, the performance arts theater. It's a short play. It could be categorized for children's. This story, well, a story where a question become the knowledge that the little Esteban expect to hear. He want to learn more about the soldier, and his father thought he he his thing that he never imagined that they could do, because his father tell him about all the activities or all the duties that the soldiers do of the soldiers. And this is all. This is all. Teacher.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. This is that the format of this topic could be similar to one of the topics we checked yesterday, earlier, which is that of obsession. Those are two very general topics, but because of that, it allows you to put together completely different kinds of pieces and examples and origins, and that's something that I really want to highlight. So I also like this selection because even though you included less examples, what I would like to highlight here is the fact that they are completely different also in terms of culture itself. So I mean, we are putting together in the same selection Leonardo da Vinci and Residente. You see, even though that might sound crazy, I like it because that somehow depicts the perception and the feelings of humans through art from very different ages, and that's something which I also consider is very interesting to see. Okay, guys. So last but not least, we are going to finish with the last group: David Torres, Magdalena Ojeda, and Nicole Martinez. Guys, so you've got the stage.
Hello, teacher. Let me share my screen. Can you see it?
Yes.
All right. So, sorry, I'm a little bit sick.
If you can, David, I can start.
Wow.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. We choose the religion fitting to seem to us a global issue and a general culture. We wanted to investigate how much art and love we can find in the world. So, yeah, for that reason, we choose that topic. Okay. Starting with the visual art, this type of art is not only painting, how many people think, but also sculptures. So we choose arts around the world that everyone can can identify. Some are famous paintings like Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper or the painting in the Sixtine Chapel by Miguel Angel. These paintings represent the religion, Jesus, beliefs, and the relationships that humans and God created. So for that reason, we choose this visual art are very cultural and know well about around the world. Around the world. The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci, frescoes of the Sistine Chapel, the Protector statue in Brazil, and the Wailing Wall in Israel. For the books, in the books, we wanted to give it more depth by relating them to all religions, since the literature writers about the religion are clear about the books that create them. So we put it Holy Bible, the Quran, the Antichrist, the Veda. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that.
Veda.
The Veda, yeah. And Tibetan Book of Death in Talmud. Yeah.
Okay, and next we have the media arts. In this part we select some movies that represent the religion, and one of those was in Spanish and is kind of different because try to show the another hand of the religion that is obediencia perfecta. In this part, this movie showed that the how religion have the different view of the people dancing or the same genre loving and so on. And the other hand, we have the last day in the desert. This is a so typical movie of religion that Jesus must face the devil as a test to demonstrate this fight and accept the future that awaits him. And this is a typical movie that we always see or maybe on the Holy Week, and that's it. The other hand with the arts, and we have the performing and with dance. In this is the two first representation performance are with just religions, just the Jesus and someone or and the whole religion help people in that age to improve, to increase. But the last one that is so kind of different because this represent the positive aspects for the relation and the dancing and how to work together with us. And the another hand, we have performing arts, that is music. In this, we select the first one, expresión del huevo, is sing that people dancing, than people sing in English that I forget it. I don't know if my classmate, my colleague can share that this link if you can listen that song. The first one. Yeah,
This
you
one?
can. Yeah.
Uh, Let me sure by the chat, or if you
Okay.
want, I can open it.
Yeah, I think it's in this case it's better on the chat box, so we can
Uh,
perhaps open it here. Yeah.
Yeah, is this song is so common and maybe in some movies you can listen that, but it's so common and I like it for this we select. And the next one we have the religion. Religion is confrontada. This because it's a kind of representation for the bad aspects that have relation for the all the time with people that don't respect humans and so on and so on. And that's the end. The last one is kind of more that is uh, the idea is to give another point for the relation that we teach on the last, and that's it.
so in the part of performing arts in terms of theater, well, I was looking for like a topic that could be controversial, and I really found one that is called Corpus Christi by George McNally. And why this is controversial? Because the narrative of the history of Corpus Christi is about it represents Jesus as homosexual. So I think that both topics, homosexual and religion, could be a topic of depth. So I think that this is a good example of what kind of topics we can find in terms of religion. Also, it says that in Corpus Christi, uh, Jesus is like considered the king of homosexuals. So that's why this musical, I think that it's a musical. It's very controversial. The second one is Godspell. This is a musical composed by Stephen Schwartz and John Michael Tebelak. And this is a story about various parables drawn mainly from the Gospel of Saint Matthew. This song it was the number 13 on the Billboard magazine, presented in Teatro Milan with performance by Ana Victoria, Jose Ron, Alex Ribent, and Oscar Schewel. And the last one is the Book of Mormon. Also, this book is considered like literary art,
Uh-huh.
and it's a musical by Trey Parker, and this musical, this montage tells the story of two young Mormon missionaries who are going to spread the word of God in a dangerous religion in Uganda.
Yep.
And also the work, this is not considered like a parody. It it is considered like the use of Mormonism to explore the facets of all religions, and
Uh-huh.
I think that it's all.
Wow, guys, I just love this selection. I mean, there are lots of things that I can actually say about this as well. And I don't know exactly where to start, but well, first of all, once again, excellent selection, and the fact that this is a topic once again which is very general. It's like we have two very interesting ways of approaching the topic, of approaching this exercise. In some cases, we had some groups which were very specific about specific events, specific topics, and those of you who decided to choose a very wide topic and then just do this free exploration, and this is one of those cases. So the very first thing that called my attention a lot was how to put the holy books of different religions as literary arts, which is perhaps something that perhaps sometimes people don't think quite often. We are not very used to see the Bible as an example of literary art, for example. But out of these examples, one that could illustrate this a lot is the Quran, because the Quran, which is which is the holy book of Islam, if you listen to it, the way it's written is a recitation. So it's not a book that you read like any regular book, but you read it reciting, which means that it's almost like as if people were chanting the verses of it. So that is why I agree with you guys on putting the books here on that part, because that's another, let's say, layer of these books that sometimes we don't take into account, and it is the fact that they are also examples of literary arts. There is no doubt. Also, there is another thing that sometimes we are not fully aware of, and that's how dance becomes also an example of the representation of religion. And I wanted to share with you something which is very special to me, which I just shared a link here, guys. I really recommend you guys watch it, and that has to do with a dance, which is very strongly related to Islam. And perhaps you guys have watched this because this is very popular in terms of tourism and everything, and that has to do with the whirling dervish, which is like these men who do these beautiful dances, and this is something which I would put also in that category as a very good example of dance in religion. So guys, that was an excellent selection. Tomorrow we're going to continue with the next exercise, in which we are going to start focusing on this final product that we're going to have ready for the next week. And also I'll give you some key instructions on that, so you know exactly what's expected. And well, we just get ready for that. Okay, guys. So I will just take the attendance with this presentations. So that means that we are all done now. Okay, guys. So thank you very much for these exercises, guys. Once again, congratulations. I think you guys did a great job in a very short period of time. You put together some really nice examples. You did a very nice exercise. I really enjoyed listening to all of you and on learning of these examples that you guys have found. So thank you very much for that. So guys, that's it. I'll see you tomorrow.
See
Okay,
you,
teacher.
teacher.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey,
See
teacher,
you,
bye.
teacher.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
teacher.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.